The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the K-Ghost Radio Network and its website are those of the host, guest, and participants, and they are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcast, management, or advertisers of the network. The show is found under LGA Broadcasting Network. UFO Talk Radio can, but does not necessarily promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and they are not intended to treat or diagnose and or claim to cure any disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. All music is purchased and owned by LGA Broadcasting.
I got the windows rolled down, got the radio up, and I'm heading out of Vegas tonight. And it's a 1:30 on a 4-day run, and the desert is a welcome sight. I can see you there in that dress you wear, and it's keeping my foot on the gas. I drink a gallon of Joe just to make it back home and hold you in my arms at last. There's a full moon shining, lighting up the highway like a beacon to you. If I can make it on time, past some moonlit state line, and roll a diesel right on through.
You're listening to Glenn Larry on UFO Talk Radio from the LGA Broadcasting Networks. Are you ready? What you are about to experience is real. Right along with us. From deep in the desert of Nevada, the Glenn Larry Show.
And I am here, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's so wonderful to be back on a Tuesday evening. I want to bid everybody welcome out there to everybody from whatever time zone that you may be in right now. And to the late night drivers, thank you for listening. I've met you all. A lot of you have met you down at the truck stop down there at Terribles. And also 73s to all the ham operators, and especially the Silent Key. We love him so much. Whiskey 60 Baker, what a fantastic guy he was. K6RCL and Galita, we say hello to you. But 73s to all the side vendors out there, World Radio. I know them, nice guys. I listen to you guys all the time on my ham radio. And to all my affiliates, little small broadcasters out there in small stations, micro broadcasters up in Oregon and all over, the LPFMs, the LPAM network. And I'm saying hello to Leo out there, of course. And, of course, K-Ghost Radio FM 101.3 AM 1610 in the beautiful downtown Good Springs. I say hello to them, Part 15. All the Part 15 stations that carry us for broadcasting. I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you have a broadcaster out there, anyway, whatever, AM, FM, that want to carry the show, have them get a hold of us at, this is how you do it. You can go to LGA Broadcasting at gmail.com and get a hold of us. We'll get a hold of them too. It'll be fun. These are good shows, fun shows, and they're supposed to be fun. Radio is supposed to be fun, not boring. You know, AM and FM are kind of struggling right now. I don't get it. Everybody's going to these other big broadcasters, of course, that's fine, but we got to keep the AM FM alive, especially in small towns. A big shout goes out to Creekside Diner out there in Kensington Square in Pennsylvania. Yeah, she does a great job. Thank you so much, Karen. I will be down there for my birthday this year. My plan, if I don't get snowed in. She really supports the EMS, fire police, and all that. And but she is just a great lady. And just to all the stations out there that I know of, the fire guys down there, you know who I'm talking about, Station 23, Chief Hall and all the gang down there, yeah. And also Clark County Fire that listens to our shows, station 78, 87, 77. We do thank them. And I thank all the emergency workers out there in the hospitals that do such a great job. We love you. We love you. And thank you so much. I have to give a yell out to the school teachers. I was with a friend of mine the other day, and she is a school teacher, and she really puts up with a lot. Yeah. You probably heard our last couple of shows about dyslexic and all that stuff. A lot of stuff to consider. These teachers put up with a lot of stuff. Yeah. They get a lot of the burden from the home. A lot of, some children just have problems, and they're not only the teacher, but they're a counselor too. They work with the children. So that's important. I'm just kudos go out to you guys. I love my teachers. I love my bus driver. And who did not like the janitors in the day when we had back in high school? You always made friends with the janitors and stuff. So if you were in study hall, you probably saw that janitor. I'm quite sure of it. Anyway, we're going to have a great show tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll be on Facebook a little later because my code changed, and here come the broadcast time. Television, you're on. So we're on Facebook and everything else, but we will be back on. I'll repost it so you'll have it. So I did put something up to go to YouTube, and I thank you for doing that. We're on so many different podcasts out there, and to make it have fun, I try to put it all together. I'm one guy do one show. It's an hour show. It's fun. But we have Miss Heidi that is, she knows all about past lives. Have you ever had a past life, folks out there? You thought maybe you were born sometime in the past? I don't know about future, but in the past, like you felt you were a cavalry captain or whatever. Well, there's many, many stories out there. Even some famous people like Patton thought he was, you can look that up too. It's pretty interesting stuff. And another president had, it's all listed. It's all there. Past lives. Napoleon. Now he thought Patton thought he had, and he had explained everything. Of course, he was a great general. But what about the child that's 7 years old and has never heard of the Titanic? And he's describing things that happened then and on the when it went down the ocean. Or about the girl at the Trade Center that was never ever been there, and she's like 4 years old, talking about things and saying names. What about the guy who says that he was a pilot? This kid, and he's like again, either 6 or 7 or 8 years old, and he explains the aircraft, can really tell you everything about the aircraft, what type of craft it was, where he was, and he was in Germany. Imagine that. And they did the research, and it goes on and on and on because these things do happen. I don't know how. Past lives are past lives. Did I have a past life? I think I had a couple of them, to tell you the truth. I don't have 9 lives, but I do have it. I think I've had some past lives, to tell you the truth. And I've been, I believe in channeling too. I really do, because that happened to me. And but I have on the line, everybody. I'm just can't wait to get her on. I'm so excited. I better slow down, Larry. Slow down, because Glenn, Larry, you got a gal on the phone here, Miss Heidi. Miss Heidi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
And
very well.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And so, when did you ever get involved with all this past life stuff?
Fairly early.
Okay.
I had my mother believed a little bit in them, and she went to see somebody who told her a little bit about her past lives, and I just started delving into it. I was about probably 17 or 18 when the first one started coming through.
Yeah.
A lot of people get them when they're very young, but I was literally 17 or 18, and I started journaling about it.
Really?
Which is something that I do recommend for people if they want to start looking into their past lives. But the first one actually wasn't even, strangely enough, wasn't on Earth.
So your first past life experience was not on Earth?
Was not on Earth.
Can you totally explain that to me?
Well, it's interesting how they come through when you're just getting them. Sometimes you'll just get flashes of a scene, oftentimes with movement. And my first memory was of being a young woman, and the woman's mother's name was Jofa, and there had been more or less a war with another species. They were humanoid, but they weren't human exactly. And
did you actually see these people, or what?
I am what we call a clairsentient clairvoyant. Clairsentient is like what some people believe are empaths. So I feel a situation and then I see it. And so it was both. So I'm feeling the emotions, I'm feeling the situation, and also experiencing it visually. So I would see little bits and pieces of them. And the longest memory was of being in a cavern in a boat. In front of me is it's almost like a canoe, but it has a tall, sort of almost Viking-like point on the prow.
Right.
And there's a light ahead in the cavern, and he's directing the boat. He's in a robe, so I can't really see his face, but he's directing the boat, but there's no motor, there's no sound other than the boat moving through the water. So it was propelled with some sort of energy that I don't understand. And just because you have a past life doesn't mean you understand all the parts of it. But he docked at a little dock and left me at a doorway that went down into what I believe was part of a mountain situation. And it was sort of an initiatory experience. I was being sort of initiated into an education system, I'll call it that.
So did you travel on, how'd you get there? I mean, was it all by mind, or, I mean, did you?
Yeah, you just get bits and pieces.
Okay.
When you go in and even do a regression, most people just get portions of a life. You might get a few minutes maybe of a situation, but generally you'll kind of start getting an understanding of what is happening. You know, why you're wearing shoes or why you're not wearing shoes. You get just this data that sort of is, it's not much different than remembering something from your early childhood. It's not always easy to pull that up, but you can start remembering little bits and pieces of your lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how past lives come to me, although there's more of an emotional content with the really strong one.
So does everybody have a past life?
I don't always like to say always and never, but I tend to believe, yes, we do. Most people have past lives.
Does it go in the deja vu type of thing? Is that how that, like you felt you've been there before? Is that all part of that?
Sometimes. It's just the knowledge just sort of comes immediately and you understand it.
Yeah. Which I said earlier, I've heard stories about folks that have had a child that has seen things that they should never have seen. They couldn't have seen it, and then explain it. And or they're coloring or making it happen and showing it, and it's something from the past, and then they identify with a name and a last name. And when that's pretty
amazing.
incredible.
Right, absolutely. A friend of my father's had the exact same experience with his son. His son was 4 or 5 years old, and he kept telling him about the plane, and he described a plane from Vietnam, and that he, apparently the child had died there in another life, and it was very vivid for him. And generally after, 6, 7, 8 years old, those memories start to fade, and his did.
Wow.
He did have memories at a very young age.
I've seen some films on this one kid that they thought something was really wrong with him. I mean, it started when it's like 3 to 4. He started after talking, he was explaining all this stuff. And in fact, he was a prodigy kid. I mean, talked way before he was supposed to. And what was really cool is that he kept these memories going and explained. And they actually took him to a place in Germany where this occurred. And he says, and they showed him pictures of this brigade of flight pilots or whatever, I guess. Right. And he picked himself out. That's me right there. Amazing. That's me right there. And the name he had said in the States, he never saw these pictures before. And he pushed that. That's me. And the name matched the photograph. And
wow. Very
I mean, that's pretty cool, So I don't know how you can't doubt this stuff. I mean, it's happening.
It is happening.
Some people have said, I felt I was in the Army and they'd never been in the Army, and they explained where they were at. And I don't know if they maybe saw a movie or whatever, but people, it might be from a past memory of what they've seen, or maybe is real. How do you decide if it's real or not? Are you made this up in your own head and you believe it?
Sometimes that's probably true for a lot of people. Oftentimes the emotional content is one of the things that can get you and help you understand that this may have been a real life. Mm-hmm. I think after having done so many, and I've done a lot of different regressions and et cetera, you get a feel for what is yours and what may be someone else's. I also do past life regressions, and I also do past life readings. And so sometimes while I'm doing my own regression, I'm picking up on someone else's life. So you have to learn discernment for what is yours and what is not. And for me, it's about the feeling of it.
Wow.
For someone else, the vividness of the vision or what have you, it depends on what sort of intuitive or psychic gift you have, which everyone has. A lot of people are not aware of that.
Of the
Does that
psychic
help?
gift. Yeah, it does. I get that. There's so much of the brain and the mind and the soul and the universe, and that's what our shows are all about. Plus the UFO stuff and whatever you. But when you talk about deja vu, like you've been there before, and you can walk right into a room and say, "This is where that chair is at," and there's a chair. I know. I would communicate with somebody before I got in that room. Of course, I would lay it all out on a piece of paper. I feel I've been here before. Let yourself go and start sketching, and then go see what the map where you just what you've drawn, and go into that room and see, oh wow, there's that chair. It's kind of like
talking about almost like a form of remote viewing that you're doing?
Yes. I think that everybody may have that capability if they let themselves tune in.
I believe you're right. Absolutely. And I think everyone has psychic or intuitive gifts, however you want to say that.
Right.
It's just whatever type it is. You're either a clairaudient, which means you hear things, a clairvoyant, you see things. We have all those gifts, but we just tend to focus on one or two more than others. They're the ones that come easiest to us.
Right. Oh,
so
gosh.
You probably are very visual in that respect if you were visualizing that room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have spoke to certain people in the past about remote viewing, whatever, some military guys and what have you.
Right.
And there were some classes that you could take back in the day. I don't know if they're still available, but this guy was an ex-CIA agent dude or whatever, an operative, and that's what he used to do. And they would tell you what's over in that country, in that room, or where that person is, and they'd describe it. And they have 4 or 5 or 6 people, whatever, doing the same thing. And they actually could really mold the picture, actually a map right where that prisoner was at and what's going on.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, that's been proven. It's been done.
Yeah, I believe that. Is it farsight.org with Courtney Brown? I believe that they have a school, basically, and you can take online courses with them.
Really?
Yeah, and I am a member of their little organization,
nice.
But I haven't taken the courses yet.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them may be free, actually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, and I want to make sure people realize this has nothing to do with religion or anything like that. This is just a very gift that I think we all have, to tell you the truth.
I agree. Some people call them soul gifts, however you want to see it, but we all do seem to have them.
Well, I think it's a gift because, I think that the Almighty has given us a lot that we don't really use and we should use.
Agreed.
But it's interesting when it happens, But so we're gonna go to maybe a commercial here pretty soon. But we're gonna have Heidi back, Miss Heidi, about past lives, and we'll talk a little more about that. We're gonna take your phone calls at the bottom of the hour, everybody. Now, don't try calling now, but I want to hear questions and answers. We get all that tonight, and maybe will you read some people maybe on the air?
I'd love to. I'd be pleased to do that.
Great. And I know the calls will be coming in one after another, but hopefully. And but again, we're going to go to a commercial really fast. And I do thank you all for tuning in. So stand by, okay, everybody?
There's no typical meth user. I was from an upper middle class family. Meth is terribly addictive. My first time using it, I was hooked. There was no turning back. I lost my job and I was homeless. I never thought I'd see my family again. I have a great fear of meth because it took so much of me. I mean, it took everything. Meth took over my soul.
Visit our website at drugfree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Violence, theft, drugs, graffiti. It's all part of joining a gang. In times like these, we need to protect our children and our community from gangs. Gangs often prey on unsupervised teens with low self-esteem, who perform poorly in school, who seek a sense of belonging, or are simply bored. Joining a gang often involves violent hazing rituals. Once in a gang, members can become alienated from their families, school, and friends. Drugs, guns, and malicious activity are common elements in gangs. Trying to leave a gang can be a difficult and dangerous process. The best way to get out of a gang is never to join one. Protect kids from being recruited by a gang. Know who they're hanging out with. Involve kids in after-school activities and provide positive role models. Help reduce gang activities in your community by working with local law enforcement and school systems. Don't let a kid you know get involved with gangs. Visit ncpc.org to learn more or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
He is back. Now, on UFO Talk Radio, Glenn Larry.
Oh, thank you, Ross. What a great guy he is. Yes, and I'm reminding everybody the suicide hotline is, I believe it's 988. I throw that out for everybody in case anything you need to talk about. I'm sure they can help you. They're the professionals. Old Man Liver down there, I'll tell you, I was at the Pioneer Saloon the other day, and I saw the bands play. I saw Chris Ears. He's the guy that does the music for my shows. And I saw him, I believe it was Saturday night. Yeah, I think it's Saturday night we went and saw him too. And my buddy Rob and his wife, God bless those people, good people. And yeah, fun time. And the Old Man Liver guys at the Pioneer Saloon since 1913. Imagine that. Great staff, great people. I go down there and see the spirits. I might drink a spirit or two, who knows, but I'm known to do that. But we've had a lot of fun with a lot of people lately, I'll tell you. And I thank everybody for supporting K-Ghost Radio, UFO Talk Radio. And like I say, read what I say on my website, because it's very important that you see that too. You can go to kghostradio.com, ufotalkradio.com, area51radio.com. It's all there. All you got to just go to it. So, and we're back with Heidi about past lives. And so Heidi, we knew how you got started. How many folks do you have coming to you?
Well, I only do readings by request, and I don't publicize it, frankly, and I haven't for a long time. I'm more of a energy healer, and but we do have people coming in for both past life regressions and future life progressions. We do small groups. And about, sometimes once a month, sometimes every other month, we'll do one. And we've had as many as about 12, 14 there. We're a small town, small town in Texas. So it's
little Texas.
We don't have a giant population, but to have that many is nice for that area.
Yeah, of course it is. Everybody's in tune what's going on and what have you.
Absolutely.
So you don't publicize it, but how do people get a hold of you? Or is there a website or something we can send them to?
Well, they can go to our website. We have a little shop there in Kerrville, Texas, and they can get a hold of us through the website. It's called zenandalchemy.com, or you can call the shop directly at 830-315-7744. And we can certainly talk about it or get you in touch with the right people. We have people there in town. There's several ways to go about looking into a past life. You can actually get a past life regression, or like I said, a future life regression if you want to know what's happening later in another life.
And this is not under hypnosis or anything like that, right? It's just it's a read. Does a person go under hypnosis when they do this, or I don't know?
When I'm doing a reading, no, they don't have to go into hypnosis. I just read them, and I pick up information from them. If we do a little I call it, it's a very light trance hypnosis, barely even hypnosis, but you can still get a lot of information that way. Mm-hmm. And then we have a woman in town who does something called QHHT, which might be really interesting for those people who are wanting to go deeper and really get into the hypnosis type.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. When you read these past lives of people, do they crumble, or do they? Does it shock them, or they go? How does that work? How do they receive that information that they're getting? Do they believe it in the first time around, or is it just that this is what you are, or do they tell you what they are? How's that work?
Sometimes, absolutely. Some people will believe in it. They already know maybe what they have been in a past life, and every now and then it connects with what I'm talking about. What I always ask for, and I pray before, and I ask for the proper information and et cetera. And what I want is information that will help them in this life. And so I'll start doing the reading. I get the impressions. I see visuals.
Yeah.
I may get a scene or feel something about it. And as I talk to them about it, oftentimes they can draw parallels between their present life and what was happening at that last life.
When does the past life begin? I'm getting some email here. When does that happen? When is it? Can it happen like? You have to be not born to have it, but then you have it when you're born because it's a past life. But when does that come into action?
So explain that again. I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
The question was, if I'm, let's say I'm 18 years old and a person's passed away maybe 5 years before I was 18, can I walk into their life?
So are you asking when that person's coming back, or?
Yeah, more or less. But how does the contact happen within that time period? Do you have to say, okay, I was in the Calvary back in the day and it's 2013, or can it be 2013, maybe a year ago, a person passed away and now you're taking on their life? Does that?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. That sounds like what we call a walk-in. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a concept called a walk-in, and so if one soul is pretty much done with their life, but another one needs the experiences that might happen with the future part of the life that they're leaving, they might have a switch. And that's what some people do believe in. I think Dolores Cannon used to talk about that, and a number of other authors. But a walk-in was definitely something that she would talk about.
What other books can you talk about that has this information?
Say that one more time.
What type of books can you tell the audience out there to look for?
Well, Dolores Cannon is an excellent resource, particularly her series called, I believe it was The Convoluted Universe. And personally, I'm only on book 3, but it's always fascinating, and I get to go back and read a chapter here and there. But she talks a lot about past lives throughout a variety of books that she did. And she was a regressionist herself.
Oh, she was.
She was, and she started something called QHHT. And I was talking about, we happen to have a woman in town named Asha Sparks. I have permission to use her name. She's a level 2 practitioner. And basically, they take you back into a past life, and they also connect you with your higher self. So you get to speak to both and experience both. It's a much deeper type of trance hypnosis.
When you say speak to both, can you explain that to us, please?
So you get to experience the first type, the past life, and then they ask for your higher self to come through, which is really just a higher part of your soul that maybe understands more of the universe, and I'm sure that they have a better definition than I do with that. But so you will have written down a lot of questions, and she'll start asking you, and that information just comes up. You literally start speaking it, and there's a part of you that may doubt that it's you, but it is. It just comes right through. Wow. And so you can get a lot of information that way. And they're very well trained and good people. And I certainly recommend that if you're going to go in depth with your past life.
A sea captain. The gentleman's 18 years old. He believes he was a sea captain. And he goes to this place this captain used to live. And he swears with other folks that were there, they thought they saw the ghost of the captain.
Okay.
Where does that tie in with him and the captain? Do they come together and be one, and he's the captain the rest of his life, or how's that work?
I haven't experienced that one, but if the young man believes he was the sea captain, okay. Well, I mean, people who study ghosts oftentimes see kind of a how do I say? It's almost a recording of that person's movements and habits through their life that will return. The Egyptians used to believe that there are 3 different levels of more or less your soul, the Mer, the Ka, and the Ba. And there was a part of you that remained with the body and decayed with the body. There was a part of you that I think that's more or less your emotional body that would stick around, would go off to another level. And then there's a higher area, and I really can't remember where that one went. But there were 3 parts of you. And so the part that is still on Earth might possibly be what the Egyptians believed in. I believe it was the Mer.
Interesting. I want to say hello to Ken and Dee out there in Florida, and Neil and Barbara in London, of course. You know, we can see our stats over there. We're getting kind of high there also. Thanks for everybody from Canada that call in and like to talk. And those that just listen. I mean, you don't have to call in, but you're listening. That's what really counts, of course. And Randy over there in PA. Boy, what a good people they are. And Roberta, all those folks. And I get these emails all week long saying they really enjoy the show. So that's a great thing, too. So let's go open the lines and see what we get. How's that sound to you, Heidi?
Absolutely.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada, lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
And let's get that prompt line out,
The
too.
rump lines are open at 775-990-8275. That's 775-990-8275.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, so here we are. The lines are open, folks. If you want to ask Heidi some questions about past lives, or you want to tell your story, we'd like to hear about that also. And yeah, we get some crazy stuff on our show. And I love it. I mean, it's all out there. Everybody gets a piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? And because this is interesting to me. That's what the show's all about.
Good. Okay.
We talk about UFOs all the time. Have you had any interest in that area?
Yes, absolutely.
Does that tie in with you at all?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Does that tie in with past lives at all, you think?
I think so, absolutely. I told you my first life was not necessarily on this planet.
That's
I think
right.
that there's a lot of interaction with other beings that are coming into Earth. And I've seen multiple ships and experienced a lot throughout my life with that particular subject. So, yeah, I think so. And I think that people, if you go deep enough into someone's past lives, oftentimes you kind of have to experience the Earth life when you're doing your past lives. Not always, obviously, but when you do experience those, you might find that you too are what we call a starseed or a wanderer, a traveler of some sort that has come here to Earth, most likely to either just experience Earth life or to help in this particular time in Earth's history.
Yes, we are on. We're on Twitter, by the way. Also,
are absolutely a part of that.
I'm sorry. We're on Twitter. Yes, folks, we are. And I'm getting a lot of emails here on the show, which is great. Let's see here. Okay, about England and well, here we are at 2023. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in your past lives, is there anything that you could give us in 2003 or 2004 that you might have seen back then that you can give us advice today? I mean, does any of that work out with that whole past life thing?
Sure. Every life you learn something.
Yeah.
So it adds to your, kind of a collective wisdom that you may have. And hopefully you're able to move past the dramas in your life, etc.
Right.
Once you start experiencing that, and excuse me for all the So when you're going in and you experience a past life, and I mentioned that we will go in and we'll find something that relates to the life that you're living now. So you have already lived a life, more than likely, with people that you know here, and you may have already had some of the dramas that you had in this life in another. But hopefully you learned enough in that one so that you will do better this time.
Yes, you would think so. We do have a caller. Caller, where you're from, and what's your name, please? Caller, are you there on the line? Caller, you're live on the radio. Are you there? Drop it. Okay, I must call back, I guess.
Okay.
That happens. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you hopefully you learned what you had in the past, and you don't have to make the same mistakes, type of thing. So
absolutely. And you can come in with old anger too.
Oh, really?
Once you realize that anger may be from a past life, it's much easier to start letting that go.
We do have a caller on the line. Caller, where you from and what's your name, please?
Hi, this is Dr. Roberta.
Okay, go ahead, Roberta.
And about the sea captain story, the two apparitions. The first one is the past life, and the spirit is still there. It hasn't gone back to the light. The second one is the physical reality in this dimension, but it too has an indwelling spirit.
Okay.
So there's two different indwelling spirits because they're two different personalities. Therefore, when one passes over and the other one, eventually they will both merge in with the soul.
So that makes them the one then, right? Out of all
Right.
that, interesting.
And of course, that soul has an oversoul, which the soul merges in with the oversoul. It's just a continuous.
Now,
way.
does the person, I mean, I say vessel, I don't know how what the got two souls come together here. Who identifies that they're the captain? I mean,
Both of them.
Both of them do.
Because both of them had a lifetime of being a sea captain.
Okay, I can get that. I understand that. Good.
Yeah, because the one in the physical reality will have a past life. When a person comes in and reincarnates, it's like going to the closet and you pick out your wardrobe. You're going to have this experience from this extension, this experience from this extension. And then maybe I'm going to have a little bit of this, from a different place. So they will remember that part and they won't remember the other part. And they'll think, oh, I was so-and-so. But they really wasn't. It's just a part of that expression. That consciousness.
Okay.
So they put these that they want together, that they want to experience in the physical world now.
Right.
And that's the personality.
Okay. All right. But I got it. So both are going to remember. Okay. Does one just kind of take over the other, or do they both stay cool on with each other? I mean, if that was to happen.
Well, it's unusual, but it could happen. It's a strange world.
Yeah.
And there's many things that we can't see or understand.
Boy, is that not the truth.
But in this case, the first sea captain actually did not go to the light. He's hanging around.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the second one, he's in this current reality. And so the other one tries to bleed through.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I can barely hear you, so I'm going to hang up.
Well, we hear you loud and clear. So
absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Okay.
All right, caller. Thank you. Yeah, that's interesting, is it not?
Yeah, very. Very. And, there's so many ways of seeing it. And I think that's certainly valid.
Yeah, I need to unplug this fan. All righty. Noise here. All right. So I was just wondering if the sea captain was going to be that person forever and ever and ever.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that behind the scenes, before we even get here, our energies are very different.
Yeah.
You develop a personality here,
right,
and you pretty much leave part of that personality here. You're still the same being.
Mm-hmm.
You're still the same inner being, but I don't think that you necessarily take those, especially the negative aspects of those personalities with you when you go over to the other side.
Right. That's interesting. My gosh. I'm going to open the lines up again. This number.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada. Lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
Oh, yes, we're back. Oh, God, he does such a great job.
Yes.
I keep reading more and more about this past life stuff, and there's some cool stories. Do you have some stories too that you can share? You did some, but any more that you may share?
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Well, goodness, anything from Egypt to somewhere in Polynesia. My last life was in France, I believe, and I haven't been able to. I've been trying to get in there and do some research. But the memory is of being part of a dance troupe in the middle of World War II during the Nazi occupation. And you just get little bits and pieces. And so the more I follow up on it, hopefully the more I'll find out who exactly that was. Let's see. So let's see. There was an island woman. The only part of this one that I remember was I saw her in her death throes, or I felt her in her death throes, and I was seeing through her eyes.
Wow.
And there was a very large African American man that was there that was trying to save her. And it was a very, very emotional moment when he found her. There was another one where, let's see, there was a Mayan woman. I believe she was Mayan. She was some Mesoamerican woman with the stone temple type thing. And she was one of the rare women that was actually a leader for a while. And she was absolutely ruthless. So sometimes you have lifetimes that aren't that pleasant when you look back at them. And but those were a few of them.
The Egypt stuff, that's pretty common, is it not, though?
Yeah, anytime you have a long-lived society, more than likely you've been there. You know, because there will be hundreds and thousands of people that would have lived through the centuries there. And just like with the Roman Empire, I oftentimes see people that were soldiers or, you know, patricians or kind of the lower class plebeians that were in Rome. And I see that frequently in people, or someone in China, because that was quite a long-lived society. So yeah, more than likely, if you've lived more than a few lives, more than likely you're going to have lived in one of the main highly populous societies.
Interesting. Yeah, let's take a call here.
Okay.
Caller, you're on the line. Where are you from, and what's your name, please?
This is Mark Chicot from Schenectady.
Okay, Mark, go ahead. What you got a question for Heidi?
Yes, Heidi, I was wondering about this, something I haven't heard before, this future regression. Can you explain
future
how that
progression,
goes?
yes, we do that.
Past lives, folks, we're talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark. Are you interested in what that is?
Yes, that's my question, because I've had past life regression therapy done with the same method that Dolores Cannon teaches.
Oh, excellent. Okay, very good. Was it an actual QHHT practitioner?
I'm sorry?
Are they a QHHT practitioner?
Yeah, he was a doctor who
They're
took her
very
class.
good, yes. So what we do is we go in and the trance state that I take people into is a little bit lighter than they do. That's a very deep trance state. Because I haven't taken the QHHT, I do it kind of my own way. And all we do is, instead of pointing them towards a past life, we just point them towards a future life. And so you can actually go in and experience what you might be in a future life. And most people seem to land somewhere within 100 years of this one, but others just go places that I've never experienced before, landscapes, etc. Usually they're on the spiritual plane or something like that, one of the spiritual planes. But yeah, we have done future life progressions. And the idea is that time may not be what we think it is. It may not be linear. And so you can experience both past and future, whichever direction you please. Does that help a little?
Well, I just wanted to know what kind of questions, what kind of things do you say to somebody to get them to believe that they are in the future?
Well, you just really, okay, with my particular version, first I take them down into hypnosis, and I walk them to the back of a mental theater, basically. They're looking in a theater, and they walk into a room knowing that there's a door on several doors around the room, and they get to choose which lifetime they go see, with the understanding that it will be a future life. And so they just go and choose the door that they want to go to, which seems the most interesting to them. And so they go and they walk through that door, and just the idea that this is a future progression, where your mind goes is what occurs for you. So that's what you're bringing to yourself, just with that intent.
Wow, that sounds intense.
Yeah, it's very interesting. No one's had a terrible life yet, but except for the past ones. Sometimes they can be a little intense, but the future ones don't seem to be quite so bad. We have some people that have had, who knows, maybe they're alternate timelines, but the idea that things are happening to the earth that may not be that pleasant in the future. But so far, nobody's had any terrible reaction.
So, Mark, did that answer your questions and what have you?
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right. Mark.
Great. Hey, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for a call, my friend.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the answer. It's great.
It's good to have callers. I'm going to put this number out again. Here's for us, everybody.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada, lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
Oh, how nice is that? Yes. So if you even have a story you want to tell us about your past life, I'd love to hear some of those from you guys. We got about 15 minutes, if that, and left the show. So we are taking calls. You got the number, everybody. It's 1114-702-874-1114, the Glenn Larry Show. And yeah, past lives. Now, past lives. Like I told you, I don't have 9 lives, but I hope I get out of this one okay. It's, trying to stay alive,
I think you'll do well.
Yeah, thank you kindly. Recently, some weird things have happened. My truck broke down, and then I got to get some teeth pulled, and it all kind of comes together, That's life, though, isn't it not? You get your ups and downs, and things just go straight ahead, and, financially and what have you, things get better. But, yeah, you got to take what life throws at you sometimes, and sometimes it's not the best. And you try to make the right decisions, especially if you had a past life. Now, if you're in the cavalry, I just threw a picture up there of this guy, this soldier here. And this was a soldier that was apparently on the internet and has been sent to me by a person that said that they felt that they were that person, and I told him to send me on the picture of him now or when he was the same age, and let's compare. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. You can look like somebody totally different,
right,
and be that person.
Absolutely, you can come in as a male when you're a female in this life.
Yeah. Well, that's a little weird for me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look exactly the same, but
right.
Sometimes you do come in with similar traits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, because if you come in as an African American and then you come in as somebody who's living in the Fiji Islands, and then you come in as a Nordic, there are going to be some definite, racial traits that may not transfer, but there may be something about you that has an aspect that's similar to another life, but that's not always the case. I agree.
With all this, do you think this could tie into time travel also? Possibly.
I think that's, you interviewed a man named Mr. Thomas recently, and
yes.
He would certainly have a better answer for that. That's not my field.
Yeah, I wish he would have called in. I haven't heard from him yet, but
I hope he does.
I was going to call him this week, but I never got a chance to. I've been so busy with the vehicles and this and that, and making appointments and what have you. And of course, this side of the radio. Yeah, he's a very interesting person, and what a great guy too. I'll tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
And, we had the people on with the crystals. Do you know those folks too?
I do. Yeah, Christy and Greg. I do know
really
them.
Nice people. We're going to have them back on again. And
you should. They're wonderful people. They've got you should see their artifacts. Unbelievable.
Yes.
And the energy surrounding them is palpable.
Oh, I got it. It was pretty overwhelming on my show. I could feel it, and
wonderful.
It was throwing me. It was actually throwing me off, where I couldn't get questions out because the energy was so strong.
So strong.
I'm serious.
Great, understand.
And I had not experienced that for a long, long time. And I'm going, wow, I have to hit myself under control with all these emotions and feelings, and stuff. But it's all good stuff.
You may have to travel down to Texas and meet their artifacts in person.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Yeah, truthfully, I must do that. But fun people. We're scheduling a lot of cool stuff coming up this year and for the rest of the year. How's your weather over there in Texas, may I ask?
Hot. Very, very hot.
Mm-hmm. How hot is it?
I think it was 102 or 3 today.
Yeah, we've been doing that
and
ourselves.
For us, that's quite high. Sometimes it'll get up to about 108.
Yes.
Or 110.
Yep.
But
112.
it's not as common as, say, in Arizona
and
some of those states. But, it's been
well,
really
you get a little humidity over there, too, do you not?
Occasionally we do. In the summer we don't get much rain, and we're actually part of the Sonoran Desert.
Oh.
But we have trees, we have oak trees, et cetera, but they're smaller compared to other parts of the country, and we do tend to go into drought kind of frequently. So.
Well, we've had some hot weather here. It's starting to cool off a little bit,
but
the sooner the better, I say.
Absolutely, yeah, it's time.
And we have these really bad weeds out here. They grow like trees and hard to cut down. You pull one, 12 come back. It's unbelievable. I'm telling you, folks. I had a crew over here, these kids and neighbor kids and stuff. We all worked together. It darn near killed me. Yeah, they're just like unbelievable. Yeah, crazy.
So, if no one's calling, would you like a past life reading yourself?
I would like to do that in private.
Okay,
tell you the truth,
we can do that. That's
because
fine.
It's kind of I think it's a very sensitive thing, especially when you're on a radio.
I understand. No problem.
Again, oh, come on. I see it up here. I can see them. Yeah. Okay. No, we should do that sometime. That would be a lot of fun. Now, anybody want a past reading? Give us a call. Here's the number again.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada, lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
And with my guest, Heidi, Miss Heidi, and she's doing past lives readings, so you can probably get one in or two in here, two callers. So make sure you give us a call, 702-874-1114. And I'd love to hear from you and ask some questions if you like, and maybe hear your story. But we're going to the top hour to 8 o'clock, and it's 7:52 right now, Pacific Standard Time.
I'll be glad to tell a story of a lady that I worked with on a radio show years ago, back in the 90s.
Let's hear it.
So she called in, and we began her reading, and she had a question in particular about the man that she was with at the time, and she didn't give me any details other than that. And I told her that it became very strong that sometime in the 14 or 1500s, somewhere right around in there, that they had actually been very, very close and very, very much in love in another lifetime. And he had given her a very thick gold chain that had a cross that had many different stones on it. And I told her, I said that was a symbol of his love, and the proof of his love in this lifetime throughout the centuries was this chain in particular. I said, I believe the cross had been disassembled, by someone years ago, but that she would know that this was true by the chain that she wore.
Yes.
And so she got very quiet, and eventually she told us, she said, I actually have that chain. He had given it to her about 10 years ago, before she called. And at that point they're having a great deal of problems in the relationship, but she understood that there was love that surpassed that particular lifetime, and it carried through the many lifetimes as well. And she had been very nearly, I hate to even say it, but suicidal beforehand, and it helped her realize that there was more to this life than what she was thinking was. So
that's interesting.
It was sad but sweet.
Yeah, right. And I know there's stories out there that folks have had, and sometimes you're just afraid to call, I guess. I don't know why, but they can use another name. I'm not going to trace their calling like that, but
right.
What about pets? That just popped up. What about pets? Do pets have other lives, you think?
Possibly.
And that's way out there. That's a way out answer. I get them. Trust me.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. I have two things.
The bird
one
was
was a
the
pet
bird,
butt that I was experiencing
the
as
bird
a
was
shaman.
a cat.
There was a dog with me, and I experienced that dog's emotions, and there's a small amount of thought that goes with it. He knew what he was there for, and he allowed the shaman to be attacked, basically. And I could feel very intensely his fear, but also he understood that he felt that he had done wrong. So as we know, pets, they do that.
Right.
But we also had a pet here in this life that when she passed over, when she died, she actually went to go see my grandmother. My grandmother called from her nursing home where my dog could not have gone.
Wow.
And she asked where the dog, her name was Bitsy. She goes, "Where's Bitsy? Where's Bitsy? She came to see me last night." She told us that she had jumped on her bed at the end of her bed. And then when they had spoken, she had talked to the dog. The dog didn't speak back, but the dog jumped off her bed and walked down the hallway. Well, it was 2 or 3 miles away. The dog could not have done that, and she had congestive heart failure. She passed away.
Oh, wow.
But she went to go see my grandmother.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual appearance, more or less. Would you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, that helped me to believe that there's more to them than just, a physical body.
I have a cat. Well, I love cats, and I love cats and dogs. I lost my German Shepherd a while back, but she was smart. Almost could talk, and she knew me, I knew her. I just think something and she go do it. I go, now how's that work? They're that in tune, these animals. Of course, we love them. They're like family. And the cat's she's a little skitsy. She's young. 3 o'clock in the morning, she's waking me up, pouncing on my chest.
Oh,
but,
yes.
Yeah, but they're a lot of fun. And
they are, and there's much more to them. They love very much. They love their owners.
Yes.
I consider mine a companion.
Yeah.
But,
That's beautiful. Well, can you give me some information how one can get a hold of you, or all this information? My people out there, people are listening.
Absolutely. The shop that we're in is in Kerrville, Texas.
Okay.
It's zenandalchemy.com. And that, or the phone number there is 830-315-7744. And we'd be glad to help you either with past life readings, or we can get you in touch with a really good QHHT practitioner and, help you understand that you are more than just this life.
Yes. And that's so true. More than just this life, as in the universe, who you are, what you were, and what you have to offer this life.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Very, very well put.
And you can share that with so many people. Are there groups that you can go to and do this where you don't feel out of the realm of society? I mean, can you go to like these little groups and then expand where you want to be? I mean, do you have groups?
Yeah, like even in small towns, sometimes you can find them. Ours is a very traditional town, but thankfully there are people there that are interested enough. Sometimes you can find them at like a Unity church or a Unitarian Universalist church. Look around for metaphysical shops, etc. They can lead you to the right people who can do past life regressions, or like you say, get into groups where you can start talking about this with people of like minds that you can feel safe with.
Right, which is so important, I'll tell you. And with with a lot of things too. I mean, the more you talk and express, and you meet some new friends maybe too. I've met so many new folks on the radio, and some that I really love, and become real good friends. And
good.
Which is
I
really
think
neat.
That's great. I think we all, those of us who believe in this kind of thing, UFOs, the paranormal, past lives, what have you, the more you realize that you're not alone. How important is that? To know that you're not the crazy one anymore. There's something more there, and there's something eternal about us that experiences all of this together.
I think the crazy thing kind of went out the window, with a lot of things these days.
I don't believe it anymore, but there's so many people that are, unfortunately, their families or their friends perhaps make them feel that way. Well, there's no need to.
Yeah.
Go, as Glenn said, go and find a group.
Right. Like
get together with other people that you can talk to about this.
So true. Like I tell folks, you don't like the show, there's other shows out there, but we do our best to make you happy. So anyway, Heidi, thank you so very much. God bless you.
My pleasure.
Be well.
Thank you for having me.
What a pleasure to have you. I'm going to have you on again. Is that okay?
I would love it. Anytime.
Okay.
Give me a call.
We'll call you back. Take care. God bless.
Thank
and
you.
everybody out there, have fun. Play well together. It's all about that. Thank you, Heidi.
Much appreciated, Glenn.
Bye-bye.